Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Hollow Knight, a well-known indie game developed by Team Cherry in February 24th, 2017. Most of you would have probably at least heard of this game. Hollow Knight has beautiful soundtracks, a gorgeous hand-drawn style, enticing gameplay, and very rich lore, making it an outstanding game even among other great indie titles. So, let's get you up to speed with the basic rundown of the game. Hollow Knight has you explore the weird and wonderful lands of Hallownest, where you'll meet many friends and many more foes. As you battle through the waves of enemies and talk with friendly NPCs, you slowly but surely uncover the dark mystery of the lands and finding the purpose of your existence. Now, I know that might sound like a lot, but don't knock it till you try it, okay? Bug lore goes hard. But I'm not here today to gush about the cryptic lore of the game. I'll leave that to the professionals instead. I'm here to talk about the charms, and more specifically, charm builds. Charms are equipable items in Hollow Knight that give your character additional attributes. The stronger the attribute, the more notches it would usually take up. In Hollow Knight, you can equip as many charms as you like, but every charm would take up a number of notches. If you do not have enough notches to use a charm, you either can't, or if you try to force it, you become overcharmed, taking double damage from all sources. In this video, I'll go over some charm builds that optimize a certain type of playstyle, and talk about the strengths and weaknesses of those builds. I should also mention that I will be testing these builds in the Colosseum of Fools, as it has a wide variety of enemies to truly show off the capabilities of the builds. One more thing, the statistics assume that you've completed most of the games and have the necessary items. The Strike Master. This is your usual nail build taken to the extreme, with charms that boosts your nail's damage, swing speed, and reach significantly, making it a far more formidable weapon. On top of that, powerful nail arts become much less cumbersome to use. Plus, we receive no knockback when striking enemies with our nail. Let's see how it performs. Now, let's talk about how the nail feels with all of its upgrades. And sure enough, having 10 out of the 11 notches dedicated to your nail definitely makes it a force to be reckoned with. Though you might think, well, that is great and all, but what about burst damage? That's where the nail arts come into play. With insane damage per second and a large AoE, it helps out against some of the more annoying and tanky enemies in the Colosseum. On top of that, not having to deal with knockback was a godsend when the spikes came in. Overall, I'd say this is the second easiest build here, with moderately high potential. The Spellmaster. A build that largely neglects the nail and focuses on spamming spells. The only use of your nail here is collecting soul, which it now does extremely well thanks to the first two charms, while the other two helps by enhancing your spell's potency and also lowering their cost. Will it work out? Let's find out. With such cheap and powerful spells, the enemies stood almost no chance of surviving even just a few casts, no matter their size or their numbers. Similar to the nail arts, spells are also quite strong, while boasting an even larger hitbox alongside even more damage, with the added benefit of being casted instantly. That being said, it is crucial to not accidentally use up all the soul, even though you can get a lot of it back with just a few hits. This build really struggles when you are left with an empty chamber. Having no extra health and just a regular old nail, you are quite weak in such a state. The Spawn Master. Let's say you're not a big fan of using either your nail or spells, and prefer others to do the dirty work for you? Well, I've got just the build for that. Relying solely on your strange bug-like companions, this build is more or less like having no charms equipped, but you have a bunch of weird creatures following you. Let's see if it works. Putting your livelihood on the hands of your small companions is a bold strategy to say the least. Not to mention that one of the charms has quite a bad reputation in the Hollow Knight community for being, well, bad. That being said, there is a nice synergy going on here with the constant draining and gathering of soul. Not to mention that you are getting passive DPS just by standing around. No charging nail arts, no casting spells, no nothing. Albeit not that much DPS. One disadvantage that I didn't see coming, however, is the explosions. While doing some decent damage itself, it also obscures your view, effectively hiding your targets if they are not killed, which is not a great thing. All in all, this technically is the easiest, but also the least rewarding of the bunch. Those were the three main builds that I wanted to talk about for quite some time now, ever since I knew the game actually. The idea of min-maxing is very intriguing to me. Anyways, here are some more builds that I'll go over a bit more briefly. The Ninja. You hit fast, heal fast, and run fast, while also weaponizing your dash. The Heretic. Lots of lifeblood, and you can even stack more health on top of it. Here's how that turned out. The Stench. Pretty cumbersome to play, to be honest, but a fun idea nonetheless. The Slug. Why stand still to heal when you can do all this instead? So, welcome to the end of this video. I'd originally planned for me to have some real-time commentary in some of the parts, but I was having trouble using OBS and it was taking way too long. And since I didn't feel like uploading in the next 5 years, here we are. Huge thanks to Team Cherry for this amazing game that so many still enjoy. That is all for now. Have a wonderful rest of your day. But my goodness, you guys are sure taking your sweet time with Silksong. Just give it to us already.
Drosik Halimo. Gala Negosa.